Every mixed martial arts fan in the world knows about the legendary Gracie clan and their contribution to the development of jiu-jitsu and MMA in general. This clan is considered the founder of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It all began in 1916, when 14-year-old Carlos Gracie became a pupil of the Japanese judo master, Mitsuyo Maeda. After learning, he and his younger brother Elio Gracie laid the foundation for the modern Brazilian Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. This knowledge was passed from brother to brother, from father to son in the Gracie Dynasty. During the 20th century, the Gracie clan developed Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Each member of the dynasty contributed and perfected this martial art. All the members of the Gracie family have achieved outstanding results in learning BPW. They all have a minimum of black, and many of the red belts are the highest degree of skill. Mixed martial arts gained popularity, and many members of the Gracie clan fought in MMA organizations. Mixed martial arts gained popularity. He popularized Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu among martial arts as a member of the Royce Gracie clan when he won several UFC tournaments in the early 1990s, where he fought in different styles and countries. As a result, fighters around the world have become much more focused on studying the struggle of the parterre. But today, the protagonist will not be the legendary Royce Gracie or his brothers, but the Japanese fighter, Kazushi Sakuraba, who has an unusual connection with his clan. He was nicknamed the Gracie Hunter for defeating 4 members of the Gracie Dynasty. He also fought the longest fight in Pride history with Royce Gracie, which lasted 1.5 hours. It all started with the manga, Tiger Mask, which little Kazushi read as a child. In the comic book, the protagonist in the Tiger Mask conquered the top of wrestling. Sakuraba made this childhood dream come true. At age 15, he started amateur wrestling and joined the wrestling team at his university. Kazushi was chosen as the team's captain, and in the 3rd year, he finished 4th in the Japanese championship. After graduating from Sakuraba College, he initially thought of coaching, but decided to pursue a career in wrestling. From 1993 to 1998, he made a name for himself in this art. Catch wrestling and Muay Thai skills combined with unconventional technique in the ring made him one of 4 key wrestlers and then consultants of the International Wrestling Union. In the mid to late 1990s, mixed martial arts developed, and the dominance of the Gracie clan and their Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu attracted attention from both the public and professional wrestlers. So Kazushi also decided to build a career as an MMA fighter, and he did it well. The first 2 fights were unsuccessful. In his debut in July 1996, Sakuraba lost to Kimo Leopoldo, and the second fight was given the status of a no contest. But in the next 14 fights, the Japanese fighter lost only once to the Ukrainian Igor Vovchanchin. But today, let us dwell on the fights against the representatives of the great Gracie clan. Let's try to understand what skills as a wrestler allowed him to defeat these famous jitters. The first time the Gracie Hunter came out to hunt was Elio Gracie. It was in November 1999 at the Pride 8 tournament.
Obviously phenomenal, but
Elio Gracie is one of the sons of the legendary Elio Gracie. He was considered by many to be the most technical fighter in this style of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He became world champion 4 times and won many national trophies. At the time, Elio was an undefeated 3-0 fighter. It is said that Elio demanded special rules in a duel with the Japanese fighter. No racks, no referees. In the first seconds of the round, Gracie made a pass in the legs and transferred the Japanese fighter to the parterre, but found himself underneath. The Brazilian quickly took a sitting position and put his hands around Sakuraba's back, preventing him from developing an attack.
It was fun. It keeps everyone mixed martial arts. No one is.
A beautiful high kick from the Japanese fighter, but it passed. Royler went to his feet and got a knee to the knees. Then a nice ground and pound from Kazushi and a stand-up. The Brazilian was left to sit on the 5th point and throw up some up kicks. Sakuraba shot low kicks at the legs and hit the Brazilian very tightly and accurately in the head. How he survived is not clear. Gracie invited his opponent to the parterre and then rose to the bar. Kazushi saw the moment when the Brazilian was about to make a pass. He shot a powerful low kick in the head as Royler bent down, but hit the block. By the end of the round, Gracie was at the 5th point, and Sakuraba treated his legs with dozens of hard low kicks. Royler wanted very much for the Japanese fighter to jump on him in the parterre, where his native element was. Gracie's thighs were already in places barred from blows. There was a funny moment where Royler gave his opponent's hand to help him get up, but it was a clever ruse by the Brazilian fighter, and Kazushi didn't fall for it.
Spinning back kick by Sakuraba. Nothing against Sakuraba.
Round 2 began again with Royler's leg to foot, but he stumbled across Sakuraba's counter knee. Then the Japanese fighter hit the right hook tightly on the way out. It was a kick in the head and knocked the Japanese fighter down. Royler remained on his back and asked the enemy to sign into the parterre, but Sakuraba responded by showing him with thick low kicks. Gracie got up on his own and missed a strong middle kick and then a powerful low kick. The Japanese fighter defended himself well from the passages, missed the jab, and shot his feet across all fours. The beautiful back kick from Sakuraba, a series of low kicks, and one of them knocked down the Brazilian. The bruises on his thighs became even bigger and darker. Royler managed to pull the Japanese fighter into the parterre, but Sakuraba locked in the Kimura from half guard. He twisted his arm hard, but the Brazilian did not give up for a long time. The referee jumped in and needed to stop the fight. Gracie was very upset and did not agree with the stoppage, but unfortunately, it was his first defeat in MMA. Royler had made 7 more fights under the MMA rules and scored only 2 wins and 1 draw. The 3-time winner of the unofficial World Championships in Abu Dhabi taught his art until 2015 at the Academy of Maeda, Rio de Janeiro. He currently resides and coaches young jitters in California. Gracie co-authored 3 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu textbooks. He's married and raising 4 daughters. And since then, Sakuraba has been called the Gracie Hunter. It is safe to say that 100% protection from the takedown helped him to win. Kazushi went on the hunt for the 2nd time on May 1st, 2000, against Royler's brother, 3-time UFC winner Royce Gracie in the Pride Grand Prix final. Royce is considered one of the most influential figures in MMA history. He began training at the age of 8 with his father and older brothers. By age 16, he had a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and by 18, he was a black belt. At age 17, Royce moved to live with his brother Elio Gracie in the United States. There he competed in several jiu-jitsu competitions and received a record amateur rating of 51-3. Royce successfully began his professional career in mixed martial arts wrestling at the UFC, co-founded by his brother Horion. The idea was to bring together heavyweights of different styles. Gracie's victories revealed that the size of the fighter was irrelevant and drew great public attention to jiu-jitsu. With no losses in a series of 12 consecutive victories, Royce approached Sakuraba. It was the first Pride fight for the Brazilian, and he insisted that the rules be changed to unlimited time. Let's remember the longest fight, the Pride organization, which lasted 1.5 hours. In the first round, there were successful takedown attempts by Gracie, but no progress in the parterre. Kimura in a long clinch from the Japanese fighter, and in return, dozens of short, weak hooks to the back of the ear, and his free hand in a hoist clutch.
He's not worried about the leg side kick. This is very good. Was one competitor in this tournament. What's left in this round? Hoist continues to chop him. I mean, you got a pro wrestler against a really rear naked choke from here. It's gonna be hard. Oh, jump too straight. Look at that. Oh, that's what I'm thinking about. In some ways, he's gonna really hurt him.
In the end, Sakuraba tried to get in a powerful heel hook, but the bell rang. In the second round, a long-lasting clinch was dominated by Hoist, but without prejudice to the Japanese fighter.
Could be. I think it's toll. It is. Thing is, I think this is a matter of efficiency. Hoist is definitely winning the fight right now.
This funny moment, when Kazushi started filming Gracie's kimono, and even the great Elio Gracie smiled. There was an attempted strangulation by the Brazilian, but Sakuraba got away.
Third round coming up.
In the third 15 minutes, there was again a lot of clinch.
Could be knocked out here. Try to go 100 rounds. Still, this is more.
There was an explosive Japanese attack with a knee strike and a few hooks and uppercuts to break out of the clinch. A lot of high-impact low kicks from Kazushi and failed attempts at a takedown from Gracie. A good deuce from the right uppercut and left hook at the departure from Sakuraba. He looked fresher than the representative from the Gracie clan. In the fourth round, a few significant hand blows from the Japanese fighter, short stint on the parterre without much aggravation, and the round ended with a takedown from Hoist. Throughout the fifth round, Hoist managed to keep his opponent in the parterre, standing from below and closing his guard. But it just didn't work out. The Japanese fighter threw a small but high-quality ground and pound, and it was funny that he held the blows of a double hammer, as in wrestling, where two hands simultaneously drop on the opponent. He also lifted Gracie's kimono and struck him in the head several times. Round 6 started on the parterre, but there was no significant moments there. Hoist missed several powerful low kicks and a hard 2 hooks in the meat. Later on, Sakuraba continued to break the Brazilian's hips with low kicks, occasionally connecting hooks to them. The fighters were very tired, especially Gracie. His brother Horion, who was his second already, thought to throw in the towel, and so it happened. For round 7, Hoist Gracie did not come out. It is said that the Brazilian could not stand at the time. His thighs were broken by constant low kicks. The second member of the Gracie clan was stripped of his undefeated streak, and once again confirmed Sakuraba's nickname, the Gracie Hunter. After that, Hoist fought 6 more fights. He lost only once. He holds many UFC records, and his name is first in the UFC Hall of Fame. In August of that year, At the Pride 10 tournament, Sakuraba again went out to hunt the next member of the Gracie clan. It was Royce's cousin, Renzo Gracie. He lost only once in the last 12 fights, on account of his victory over the former champion of UFC 6, Oleg Tektarov. Renzo had a black belt of the 6th degree in Gracie Jiu Jitsu. He began his mixed martial arts career in 1992 at the Valley Judo tournament. Gracie returned to Pride to face the Gracie Hunter. From the opening seconds of the round, it was clear that Renzo was doing better than his brothers. He possessed kickboxing techniques and was more mobile on his feet. The first half of the round was almost at the bar, where the advantage was roughly the same. Gracie dealt a few whiplash low kicks. Sakuraba returned them when the Brazilian laid on his back. Later in the post, a high kick hit Renzo's head hard and continued to shoot hard low kicks. The change on the hands was more accurate than Renzo, and in a counterattack, he hit a left hook to the jaw of the Japanese fighter and added an internal low kick. At the end of the round, Kazushi was more active and dealt more significant blows, among which he led with low kicks. At the beginning of the second round, there was a beautiful takedown from Sakuraba and a side kick in the jump. There was also an interesting moment when the Japanese fighter made a wheel to climb the guard to the opponent. Kazushi put a lot of low kicks on the legs of the recumbent Brazilian. In the parterre, the fighters failed to develop any success. But at the bar, Renzo hit a right-handed Superman punch, then shot a good low kick, and foot protection, and knee into the body. Sakuraba responded with a powerful high kick to the head. Then unexpectedly, Sakuraba twists Gracie's arm from the clinch, transfers him to the ring floor, and conducts a painful Kimura. In 10 minutes, the referee stopped the fight, and the Gracie Hunter took another victory over a representative of the Gracie clan. Renzo finished his MMA career with a record of 14-7-1. On the 22nd of November 2014, there was a rematch between Renzo and Sakuraba, but in a grappling match. The fight ended in a draw. Renzo Gracie scored notable victories over 5 former UFC champions. He is now a world-renowned coach. He trained in grappling for such famous fighters as Georges St. Pierre, Frankie Edgar, Chris Weidman, and Roy Nelson. Renzo lives in New Jersey. He's married and raises 3 children. Kazushi went on the hunt again in December 2000. This time he faced Renzo's younger brother, Ryan, at the Pride 12 tournament. By the way, he was then Renzo's second in the fight against Sakuraba. Ryan spent only 1 fight in his professional career and was an undefeated fighter. Kazushi went into the ring with bright-colored hair in red and yellow. It was visible that Ryan was emotionally charged and mentally ripping off his opponent's head. The round began with a high kick from Sakuraba. Kazushi was well defended from the passages, but if Ryan's takedown was successful, the fighters quickly rose to the bar. Sakuraba did not forget to plug his favorite tough low kicks. After an unsuccessful leg walk from the Brazilian, Kazushi changes position and comes out with a painful contraction of the jaw, then domination in the parterre. Small ground and pound from behind, and an attempt to lock in a Kimura from Sakuraba. At the end of the round, there was an attempt to make Gracie's heel hook painful, and in response, Kazushi hit the buttocks, which made the audience laugh. The referee gave the victory to Sakuraba unanimously. For the Gracie Hunter, there was a fourth victory over the Gracie clan, and in 3 of them, he removed a 0 from the undefeated field. Ryan Gracie managed to compete in the Pride organization, where he fought 7 fights, 5 of which he won. He died in 2007 under strange circumstances. The official story is that he overdosed on the high-powered sedatives that his psychiatrist prescribed. Pride called him the bad guy in the family, which is widely believed to have gained experience in street fighting in Brazil. Ryan was the leader and head coach of Gracie Sao Paulo, one of the largest jiu-jitsu associations in Brazil. In 2001, he had his only son, Heron, who produced a short documentary entitled Letters to My Father. 7 years after their first fight, Royce Gracie and Kazushi Sakuraba had a rematch at K1. The Gracie Hunter lost only once in the last 8 fights, and Royce had only 4 fights after the first with Sakuraba, where he won 1, lost 1, and tied 2 fights.
Elio Gracie is at ringside.
The fight began when Sakuraba knocked Gracie down, when he stumbled across the opposite right hook. Kazushi failed to finish him off, and he ate the up kicks from the Brazilian. Numerous blows to the legs from a lying position from Royce, and retaliatory low kicks from the Japanese fighter. At the end of the round, an attempt to get out of the Kimura from Sakuraba. In the second round, the internal low kicks from Royce, dominance in the clinch with knee blows to the leg of the Japanese fighter. You can see that Gracie's improved his kicking technique over the years. Then the tie clinch, knees from Kazushi, and a small lead in the clinch from the rest of the round. In the final round, there was an attempt to get to the choking from the back, then the Kimura from Sakuraba. This clinch where Royce put some hooks behind his back to the Japanese man's ear. The fight was decided by judges, who unanimously gave the victory to Gracie. It was a very equal fight and very controversial decision. I think round 1 and round 3 was taken by Kazushi, but you can't dispute that. The results of Royce's post-fight doping test were subsequently released. The test showed the presence of a large number of steroids in the blood.
Trying to get those knees knee to face.
The last hunt for a member of the Great Gracie Dynasty was the Dream 14 tournament in May 2010. It was the nephew of Royce Gracie, Halleck. He was 16 years younger than Sakuraba, and this was his 3rd MMA fight in his career. Halleck was an undefeated fighter. He grew up watching his father teach private Brazilian Jiu Jitsu classes at the family gym in Southern California. At the age of 21, he made his mixed martial arts debut and wanted to avenge the Gracie Hunter for his relatives. In the first round, after Halleck's first attack, Sakuraba stumbled and fell on the canvas of the octagon. Gracie took advantage of the situation and took the back. First, Kazushi wanted to go to the Kimura and then to the armbar. Until the end of the round, there was domination in the parterre from side control by Halleck. At the beginning of the second round, Sakuraba was hit by a powerful left hook in the belly of the Brazilian, after which the fighters clashed their heads. A great right middle kick under the arm and later a takedown by Gracie. Then another takedown over the shoulder and ground and pound from side control. Halleck was trying to get out on the Kimura. Gracie's domination in the parterre until the end of the round. At the beginning of the final round, Sakuraba missed a powerful high kick to the head and later responded with an uppercut to the body. It was clear that young Gracie looked fresher than his opponent, but Kazushi was always pushing. A dense overhand from the Japanese fighter and several blows to the body slowed the Brazilian. It was strange that in this fight, Sakuraba did not use his trademark low kicks. Maybe this was prevented by some sort of injury. Halleck landed a takedown and sat in a full guard with the Japanese fighter. Kazushi tried to make a kimura, but just as he attempted to lock it in, the referee began to pull the Brazilian shorts, which slid. Because of this, Sakuraba loses his position, and the fight was decided by judges. Unanimously, the judges gave victory to Carlos Gracie. Kazushi, of course, was very unhappy about the shorts. Halleck did not fight for 7 years in MMA after this fight, and led another victory at Bellator, which he lost. He raises a son named Hilion, who may be the future champion and the greatest pride of the Gracie clan. This is how the Japanese fighter, the Gracie Hunter, ended his career. Kazushi Sakuraba long ago took his place in the books on the history of mixed martial arts. No doubts one of the most powerful fighters of all time, his career spanned almost 2 decades, during which he scored victories not only against the Gracie clan, but also against 7 UFC champions. Sakuraba is considered one of the most technical fighters of all time. If you watch this video without a subscription, sign up for the channel right now. Press that like button and tap the bell icon to avoid missing our next video. Take care.